This is a WPDE News Channel 15 special. Tonight, 5 men and 1 woman vying to become Horry County's next council chairperson. Facing off live for the first time on crucial questions that could make or break them on the campaign trail, dealing with crowded roads, managing tremendous growth, fixing the county budget. The big questions facing Horry County voters. Tonight, tough questions and tough issues. The Horry County Council Chair Debate. Now, live from the WPDE News Channel 15 studios, Jim Heath.
Good evening and welcome to the studios of WPDE News Channel 15, where the 6 candidates running for Horry County Council Chairperson are meeting tonight in their first live televised debate. The man they hope to replace, Chad Prosser, was re-elected chairman last November, but he resigned earlier this year to lead the State Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. Prosser's style as council chairman will be tough to replace, but here are the folks who think they can do it. Former Councilman Robert Rabin. Former Councilman Chandler Brigham. Councilman Marion Foxworth. Former North Myrtle Beach Mayor Phil Tillman. Former Councilman Ulysses DeWitt. And Councilwoman Liz Gilland. The debate is divided into 4 parts. First, 25 minutes of open discussion that I'll direct. Second, each candidate will ask one of the others a single question. In the third round, candidates will respond to questions recorded from Horry County voters. And at the end of the hour, closing statements. Now, we only have 60 minutes for all 6 of these candidates, so I've asked each of them to keep their answers within the allotted time. And Mr. Rabin, the first question goes to you. You've had quite a bit of advertising in recent weeks emphasizing roads. And I'm just wondering, the council and the county was about $2.5 million short in the road improvement budget. And everyone, all of us, will be paying a little bit more for roads in the coming year. If elected, is there a specific place in the budget that you feel you can find the additional funds to help improve roads?
Well, I believe first that you should use a zero-based budget to begin your process, because the needs change from department to department from year to year, and typically when you do that, there's money to be able to be found. And this is not to say that there's a lot of fluff in any one individual department, but I think in my experience in business, and I have been in business for 25 years, if we begin at zero and put the things in, start with your employees first and the things you have to have, because typically you don't have to have a bulldozer every year or a fire truck every year. You just need to begin at the beginning. All
right. So zero-based budgeting would be a way to find additional funds for roads?
I think so.
Mr. Foxworth, you're currently on the council. Zero-based budgeting, kind of 2 questions there. Would that help us with the road situation?
Not in terms of the major road systems. Most of our most recent road improvements have come about because of the RIDE plan, which was funded both by local contribution and the state infrastructure bank. What we've got to do, and we're running short in that, projections are a $100 million shortfall in that, which is paid for with a 1.5% hospitality tax. We're going to have to figure out a way to meet that shortfall and then look at additional roads like in the Road 2 plan. I believe we're going to have to make the state come to the plate.
Mr. Brigham, a lot of folks that I've spoken with the last couple of weeks in talking about this debate, a lot of folks complaining that roads just simply haven't been built. Is it a major problem in Horry County?
I think it is, Jim. I think that the major roads in Horry County are being addressed now with the hospitality fee, but I do think that the dirt roads within the county are a major problem, and there is a way to do that. You're talking about the budget. The budget should be based on revenue and not expenditures. And if we look at that, I think that's basically the way that it'll have to be done. And there is money to be found if you know where to look for it.
Ms. Gilland, you're on the council. Where is the money to be found?
We've been finding all the money that we could find for about the past 6 years. We've really tried hard not to raise the taxes, but to look hard at the monies that we have and spend them as wisely as we can. We've uncovered all the hidden pots of money. There used to be money tucked away here and there, and the staff could always find money when the council needed it, until Linda Angus. And she was a financial expert, if nothing else. And she found all the hidden pots of money, and we've been using it up ever since. And I don't think there are a whole lot of places to find money now. At this point, we have to look at two sources, alternative sources of revenue, or raising taxes, because there's not hidden money that I can see.
Mr. DeWitt, are those the two ways, perhaps raising taxes to solve this problem?
In some in part, and you're talking about two different types of roads that I heard everybody's talking about, the major roads that we got addressed by the state through the infrastructure bank, and as well as the hospitality paying for some of it. But the biggest road problem still exists. It's the same problem it was with Horry County ever since I first joined the council. It was a country road. We patched and tried to do, I guess we was doing about 4 or 5 miles of road a year. I think we're up to about 12 now, I believe, or maybe less than that. But that's not going to get the job done, because in the district that I used to hold, it had about 350 miles of unpaved dirt roads. If we used the formula that they was using to do it, we'll be somewhere around almost a turn of another century before we get done. And that's not the expedient way to do it. And of course, looking at the budget, you can find departments in general and staff in general always can justify anything. But our job is, as being a council person, is to look at that, what they're justifying, and putting it in together, making sure is that what we're going to give to the citizens. It's not so we need to cut. When you talk about taxes raising or finding money, ain't but two real ways. You either you got to use the money that you're receiving and put it in good use, or you're going to cut service, or you're going to cut personnel. It's just that simple. It's nowhere else to go.
Very good.
There's no rabbit hat in it.
Mr. Tillman, cut services, raise taxes, are those the solutions?
None of the above. I think what the county needs to do is, and of course everybody's discussed it here quite succinctly, is, you know, which roads are we primarily talking about? Are we talking about the main roads or the main or the secondary roads? And of course, county's responsibility is primarily for the secondary roads, and I think that's the challenge that faces us. I think we need to look for alternate sources of revenue. I don't think it's the time to be looking for raising taxes. The county needs to do what it can do to stimulate growth. Growth stimulates tax income. The county's had a couple of lean years, but I think they have to look back over since the early 1990s. They probably had some pretty good years in which they had money. Prioritizing the roads, getting the most important ones first, is the way to handle it. Let staff make those decisions, take the politics out of it. I think there's a lot of ways to raise alternate sources of revenue. In fact, I know of a couple of ways. This is not the forum to be discussing it, but to raise taxes, I think, is not the thing to do at this point in time.
Very good. Do you want to get into those couple things, or?
Well, there's other things like the county tax, the road system, the county tax commission has, or the C funds is what I'm after. C funds may have some money available. I think Ulysses is right. We need to go after the state a little heavier. I think there's some avenues there, but the main thing we need to look forward to and stimulate is growth in the economy, because when you grow the economy, you grow the revenue.
Very good. Candidates, thank you. I want to move on now. Mr. Brigham, I'll start with you. Boeing has announced that they are going to leave the Seattle area. Horry County interested in attracting Boeing, which could bring, some economists say, maybe $500 million to the local economy. And it could drastically change Horry County from kind of a tourism-driven county into an industrial county. You're not on the council right now. I'm just wondering, do you think that the current council is doing enough to try to attract Boeing and make the pitch for Boeing to come here?
That question probably can't be answered at this time because it's so premature. I think that the partners arm is doing everything they can. The economic development arm in the county is doing everything that they can. And the Boeing situation coming into Horry County would be an absolute boom for the Horry County area. It's something that I would, as council chairman, be very interested and be very instrumental in, because it is a big boom for Horry County. It would turn the economy of Horry County totally around.
And before we continue on, is anybody here not in favor of it? I would assume that everybody as chairman would be kind of anxious to get. Ms. Gillen, what can you tell us about the county's efforts to try to get Boeing here?
The county essentially, the council has done not much of anything other than endorse a resolution on an anonymous, supposedly anonymous business at the time. But honestly, if I had been the chairman and heard the name Boeing and that they were looking, I would have gotten with the top businessmen and the senators and whoever else we could get that was impressive folks, and we would have flown to Seattle to try to get an audience with whoever made the decision, because you have to do the best you can, and you don't have much time to do it.
Mr.
So
Raven,
I would have done that.
Is there still time to do that?
They haven't made a decision yet. From understand the cut's supposed to, they had 100 cities they were looking at, they're going to cut it to 10. But to me, I think we should do whatever we have to do.